Every construction company owner is going to get to a point in their career where they're going to say to themselves, wow, I'm so busy. Why don't I have any money? Or I don't feel like I have as much money as I thought I would when I'm doing, say, 5, 6 million or 10 million a year or whatever it is. There's a few fundamental reasons why this is the case, okay? First issue, a lot of construction companies don't appreciate that they have a number of different types of contracts that they're going to be involved in on each of their projects. So at a very high level, you might see a construction company being involved in fixed price contracts, time and materials contracts, contracts that are with the bank where they're taking bank draws, and they might have self-funded projects where they're developing their own land. Each one of those contracts is going to impact their cash flow differently. And a lot of companies, the ownership won't take the time to get into the nuances of each of those contracts to ensure that they tilt the scales in their favor with respect to when they get cash in their company. The second issue is in a fixed price environment only, companies will be taking deposits, and if they don't have tight financial controls, they often won't be tracking their profit margins on the job. And if they're not tracking their profit margins on a job, then those issues that are latent in the project won't be caught during a time when their company is growing, because future deposits on jobs are masking those inefficiencies. The company will think that they're running at, say, 8 or 12% net, when in fact they might only be running at 2 or 4 or -2. And the problem is that those fractures won't be caught until the company starts flatlining, or they go into a negative business cycle. And then that's when they'll see their bank account might go from 500,000 down to 300,000 down to 100,000. And then they got to go get a second mortgage on their house and they go, whoa, what happened? That's the reason. The third issue, and this is the easiest one to fix, AR days and AP days. Issues happen with your cash flow when, let's say you're getting paid once a month and you're paying out once a week. Okay, so if you're paying your vendors, say 7 days after you receive an invoice, and your clients are paying every month, there's going to be a gap there. And if that gap is too great, you're going to be funding that gap with your profit or your own equity. And for companies that aren't running at very, very high net profit margins, this can be very, very strenuous on their cash positions, especially if they're growing quickly. Those three reasons are typically the first things that we look at when we hear that a business owner is saying, hey, I'm very busy, but I don't feel like I have a lot of money. It's probably because there's something to fix in their construction agreements with respect to how they attract cash into their company. If they're in fixed price jobs, they're probably not tracking their margins with respect to the deposits that they're taking. And then there's too much of a gap between their AR days and their AP days. Now, when we talk about those three main issues that companies have with respect to their cash flow, people will ask, okay, well, I understand what the issues are, now how do I fix it? Before we give them a solution, we give them a warning. Unfortunately, in our experience, a lot of accountants and bookkeepers have absolutely no idea how to manage cash in a construction company because it's actually extremely complex for the reasons that I mentioned. So when you're building a relationship with an accountant, you must hold the line with working with an organization that has dozens of iterations of success working with construction companies just like yours. Get references or talk to groups like ours who can recommend people who will do a very good job for you. Now, how you fix it is you absolutely ensure that you're in a room, first of all, with owners who have already gone through this. They'll tell you the shortcuts and the things to look out for and the pitfalls to look out for you to close that gap. And then secondly, like I said before, hold the line on making sure you're working with controllers who focus primarily in their careers on working with construction companies just like yours.